Hello everyone and welcome on into the Live at 5 here at ClayShare. I'm Jessica Putnam-Phillips and tonight we have a special guest joining us. We have Melaine from CeramiPics and she's going to show you how to transform your old pots or commercial ware into some fabulous brand new pieces. So if you have pots you're not happy with, the glaze turned out kind of meh, or you got some commercial ware you bought and you're thinking, could I do something to this to jazz it up? Well, yes, you can, and she's going to show you how. I have a couple things I want to share with you that I did a few years ago. This bowl, we'll go over here and I'll show you, that I made. I wasn't happy with the transition of these glazes, so look at the cute thing I did. I added a little something to it, and I had these little vintage turtle decals that I put on there. So this is my favorite bowl now, and I keep my favorite stamps in it. And then the other thing I have to share with you is this cup. And you can see where the glazes, I just wasn't really happy with the overlap. So look what I did to make it beautiful. So I know Melanie has some amazing ideas. So let's head on over and see how she's doing. And she's going to walk us through all of this. Now remember, I'll be moderating right here on my computer. So if you have a question for Melanie tonight, all you have to do is type it in and I will relay it to her. If it's already been asked or addressed, I will just type the answer in so we don't have to interrupt her flow. So let's check in with Melanie and see how she's doing. Hey, hey, Melanie, how are you doing?
I am staying warm. I hope you are too. It's still pretty icy around here.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so what do you got planned for us tonight?
Well, so I want to introduce a new line of stuff we've got at CeramiPics. And credit for this nifty little idea, I got to give a hat tip to the fabulous Paula McCoy.
She's brilliant.
To spend some time together this year, more than normal, and it was phenomenal. And we cooked up the idea of these pattern pages. So it's a half sheet, 5x8 sheet of decal that's just a seamless pattern. And if you can see my other screen up here, I've got some examples of the current list. Let's see, let's get a good pointer here. So we've got some abstract flowers. This one's called stained glass, a grid pattern, some stars and moons, hearts, cows, dots. No, sorry, that was cheetah. Dots.
Yeah, you got some cheetah or leopard going.
Yes, we do.
I love it.
And there's the cow. My daughter would be really upset with me if I didn't point out the cow. That's her favorite. Just a random abstract colorful, some paw prints. Who doesn't love paw prints? Some lemons and some musical notes. Now you can cut a piece of this to fit your pot or your plate to jazz it up. Or what I showed on my samples was I hit my page with a heart punch. Just one of these, standard craft punch. Or if you really want to low tech it, there's no reason you couldn't just trace a heart from your favorite template and cut it out. All of those things work. So these are currently available on CeramiPics.com if you would like to order some. And as usual, we're going to offer up a discount to the amazing ClayShare audience. ClayShare Live will get you 15% off of your decal order, be it a stock image or custom. So as part of these pattern pages, I decided to decor. I had some ware sitting around that needed some help. I met a lady at ClayCon West who referred to it as when your piece just needs a little kiss, which I thought was a great way to describe it, because sometimes it's just not hitting help. So we're going to take those away. So the first one I did, I don't know how well this is going to show up. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, Kevin, could you pull up the blue pieces? Because this was a learning experience for me. I photographed all these pieces and set up this plan before I decided to do anything to them. So the after was as much of a surprise to me as it's going to be for you. Well, not anymore because I've had them out of the kiln. So could everybody see the blue pieces unadorned? They're up. Okay. Well, now through the magic of television or whatever it is we're doing, Kevin can show you that as well as the the finished decorated ones. And the contrast here isn't as good as I'd love, but I was working with finished ware, so I didn't have a whole lot of options. So the black line work that went on to these, I've got let's see how close we can get it. I'm out of the screen. I'm pushing it away. And tilt to it. So I don't know, you should be able to see a lovely mandala design.
We can.
That's fab. Okay, good. So I did that on the 3 dishes. And on the long plate, there's a dragon.
Come forward a little bit more with it. Not that yet.
There we go.
There you go. Now we can see.
Now, oh, that shows much better. Okay. So the lesson I learned here is this dark mottled color is not the best for any kind of decal because it's not terribly visible. Although, take my word for it, in person, it improves the look of some otherwise plain
we can see
ware.
it. It's very subtle. So you get like a subtle finish.
You do get a subtle finish. And anybody who's used at least my decals on anything but low fire, sometimes you can see the edge of where you've trimmed that decal. So that's a thing to be aware of. It's never going to go away permanently. All right. So that was, I'll call that one a success because now I have a lovely matching piece. And this is a way to customize something without having to produce it, especially if you're in a hurry, because I don't know.
So those blue pieces, are those commercial ware you got? Those
are commercial ware I got from the grocery store.
Okay, so you could go and just buy pots from some random place.
I often see things and go, ooh, what would a decal look like on that? Because if it's plain, I've got to adorn it with something. Kevin, can we have the red heart plate? That's awesome. It's up. All right, so plain red pie plate shaped like a heart. This one came from Aldi. So if y'all have Aldi's, I see lots of plain things that are crying out for decoration. All right, so now we'll bring in the after. And that, ooh, you don't want to see my ring light.
Oh, that really pops.
Down, isn't it?
That really pops.
It does pop. And here's another thing I learned. When you're putting a decal over something this intensely colored, boy, you can see where those air pockets are in a way that you cannot see it on a white surface. So in a lot of my demos, I've said, keep going, get the water out, get the water out. You can't see it, but it's there. Test a decal on a colored tile. Oh my gosh, you are going to see where those bubbles are. And that makes it even easier to get out. But
so these dragon decals you're showing people can buy from you?
Yes, I do believe I put the dragon up.
Okay.
I do believe I put the dragon up. And if I didn't, I'm happy to, if anybody's interested in that dragon.
A few people love the dragon. So.
It's a great dragon. It's a great piece of detailed line art, and it's the kind of thing that fits my decal motto of stuff that a brush can't do or you don't want to. So the other piece I grabbed at Aldi in the Valentine aisle, the aisle of shame. I don't know about you, but I'm a fan. So I found this little planter. So Kevin, can you put up the planter? The red heart-shaped thing with feet. Okay. So this one, this was my least successful out of all of them. So I'll turn this one around. Okay, so try to offset the glare. So it just had 2 little dots and a smile. I gave it more of an expression. I punched out one of my pattern pages to give it some detail. And that part worked pretty well. The fail was around this shape. Boy, can you see every edge of that face or of that decal. And it has no relationship to the face itself because I got it overly aggressive in trimming. My original plan was to make that a perfect circle or oval. and I should have stuck with that. But I don't know if any of y'all can relate to this, but I overthought it. Huh. You don't
So
ever do
this
that, do you?
red, folks want to know that glaze. These red pieces are commercial ware you bought already made. You did not glaze them.
I did not glaze them, but I'm thinking they're awfully close to Mako's hot tamale or foundation.
It looks a lot like hot tamale. Yeah, it does. So you could get a similar color, I think.
You get a very similar color. Yeah, that was a wondrous time when those two colors came out. I used the pattern page on the side, lining it up in here. That worked out pretty well because that was pretty much of a even curve, although there was a little curve in this direction, which, you think something's straight and it's not. And no, I'm not going to go anywhere with that. The tip I learned, when you've got more of a compound curve and you're trying to force it into place, if your piece is a little warm, that helps. So when you're fighting with it, if you warm it up a little bit, maybe fill it with some warm water, that'll help, or just work it down with a warm rag. Something I've done. Now here's where the wheels came off the wagon. Is the back. I had this lovely bird cage design, and you may not be able to see it on camera, but trust me when I tell you, there are crackles in that decal that I'm waiting on my vendor to tell me why. Because this is a gloss, anyway, there may not be a reason. So if you do decide to test some to decorate commercial ware, please test it. Please test it. But yeah, there's some looks like kind of like, I don't know if anybody has seen pencil lines in clear glaze that didn't burn out on low fire. Sometimes it leaves like a track where it was and the bubbles burned out. It's looking kind of like that. So I'm not thrilled with it, but I learned a lesson. So we'll take that was the worst one out of the bunch. Everything else turned out.
Melanie, would you show the heart plate, the pie plate again, but upside right so folks could see the design?
Oh, sure.
Because thank you.
There we go.
Yeah. So there was a lot of questions about how do you know what temperature to fire to? How do you know what clay was used and all those things? And I'm sure you're going to address that, trying to figure it out.
So the answer is the decals always fire to the decal temperature, which if you're going to do it by the book is to a cone 012. But if you're in a studio environment and you have to share kiln space and no one's going to do an 012 for you or give you your own special ramp hold, by all means, they do really well at 06. And I would not steer you away from even 04. They can take the heat. Extra heat is what separates CeramiPics decals from, call them old school decals that have been around forever and ever. And, I'm not knocking them. Decals and ceramics have been friends for half a century. But those traditionally made ones don't need as much heat as mine do. So with one hand giveth, the other one taketh away. So I took away your low temperature, but you can do it to 06. The color holds. The color holds. It may shift a tiny bit because we're talking about heat work. So I know, if I buy a piece of commercial ware, I go in knowing it's a gamble. I don't know what kind of clay it is. I'm guessing, because this thing is dry-footed on the bottom, that it's probably stoneware, but that doesn't affect how I'm going to fire it for the decal's sake. So the decal needs a minimum of 012, happy at 06. I even tried to get rid of one at cone 6. I took a porcelain plate and put it in a cone 6 fire and hoping to fade a really badly applied decal. I hope I could fade it out. It didn't work. So when they're there, they're there. I hope that was helpful and not more confusing. So always fire to the decal temperature as needed. And you can always reach out to me with a question. I'm happy to repeat that sort of thing.
And a lot of people want to know, how do you know if it can take the heat?
Well,
you don't until you try it. No, this is all a test. So
it is a test.
And you try it, and if it works, it works, but it might not work. That's for this particular, like the pieces you're showing now. But
And these, go ahead.
I was going to say there's companies out there that cater to potters that do porcelain painting that buy already glaze fired pieces that you know what temperature they've been fired to. So if this is your deal and you really like buying large, you want to do large platters that you really just want to surface decorate, you can buy pre-glazed pieces. I don't think Bisque Imports is a company. Maybe you have a, maybe Maryland China come. Yeah,
Maryland China is an excellent company. I've known them for 20 plus years. They sell quality porcelain and some stoneware already finished.
Yeah. And so you can go there and buy pieces that are gorgeous, amazing things you'd never probably make on your own that you can then put decals on or China paint on.
Or China paint. And it's quality. It's well made. They're a family-owned company. They're always at NCECA. So if
they
you're
are,
going to
they'll
NCECA,
be at this NCECA in Detroit.
They will be. They will absolutely be at NCECA. Go check them out. They're nice folks.
And they'd say what's in the glaze, like it's food safe. So you're not worrying about lead or any of those things that you might be concerned buying, like something at a flea market or whatever.
Well, yes. And so all the pieces I've decorated that were commercial, I have bought brand new. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. I once tried to fire clean an old baking dish. And I know this is a stoneware baking dish, but it was about 20 years old and it had been well used. Yeah, it didn't survive. There wasn't even a decal involved. It did not survive my refresh firing. So disclaimer, everything I'm showing you is the commercial ware anyway is brand new. If it's a project of my own and I know what it's been through and I'm trying to update it, because I've got one of those too, that'll be my last one. Anytime you put something in at 2,000 degrees, I'm going to quote Jim Scott. He's like, that's a hostile environment. It's amazing any of this actually works. So much less perfectly all the time. But speaking of porcelain, and this did not come from Maryland, China, frankly. Oh, Kevin, can we see the teapot? This teapot could have come from Maryland, China, but it actually came from Home Goods. Home Goods and TJ Maxx and those brands all have a good selection of just white ware.
And I would like to say to folks, when you're buying things like this, it'll say food safe, lead free on the teapot. It will say that. So you know that it's okay. If it doesn't say that, maybe don't buy it, right? Like if you're concerned about that issue.
It's always buyer beware. But as clay artists, we've learned a few things that if the glaze has some divots and dings in it, that maybe that's not as safe as something fully sealed and smooth. Crackles are always a big topic of contention. So if you're buying it from a place that sells dinnerware, you're in, I think, reasonably good stead versus just as you mentioned, the flea market, and you don't know where it came from. But if it's just to be pretty or to hold wrapped candy, we're not too worried about that either. So, because that's going to be safe. So now here's the after on the teapot. And I think this one really hit it. Love me this little teapot. Monogram is what I should have done, but this artwork. And I don't have it available on my site, but I'm happy to sell it to you. Just tell me what size you want it in.
It's beautiful. The lotus, like a mandala.
It's a mandala with a lotus, and it was part of an overall bigger pattern. So I took the outermost ring of that, and I added a couple pieces on the lid. And then because I wasn't done torturing myself,
I love it. I
put a stripe on the handle.
I'm a big fan of decorated handles.
And wow, this was the bonus surprise for me. Is like I never make tea in a teapot. I'm making tea in a teapot now.
Yeah.
In my teapot, nobody else in my house drinks tea. So
I wanted to touch on something. Are you going to talk about your custom decals tonight?
I always talk about my custom decals.
Because somebody, if like they got an order from a restaurant to make custom plates with the restaurant's logo or something on it, your decals would be perfect for that. They could buy from Maryland China Company the dishes or make them themselves. And then you could make the teapot. Made me think of that. Like someone could do custom teapots for a restaurant. Like if you have a restaurant that's a tea shop, maybe, they could get a decal made from you.
Absolutely. A decal is the way to customize and personalize And at the risk of shooting myself in the foot for business, in production, keep in mind it's always an extra firing. I have tested a one and done. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Feel free to try, but I've not had good results. But yes, you can order your own image or a logo that belongs to your client, and I will work with you to fit how many on the size of page to make it the most economical. And when we come back to that notion about on really hard glazed surfaces like porcelain, where you're likely to see that the rim of that decal, I was very careful to cut that as a perfect circle. Or if it's a monogram, wrapping it with a small band helps visually disguise where that edge is. And that edge is the flux coating that holds the ceramic pigment and allows it to be placed onto your pot or plate. So it's a like stilt marks on low fire. It's a necessary evil. So we have tricks to make it less noticeable. And I'm always happy to advise you how to do that. Did I cover that question thoroughly enough?
I think so. Yeah.
Just good.
And if you're out there watching and you want a decal made and you just don't know how to get it done, reach out to Melanie. She'll talk you through all the steps. Yeah, she'll get you there.
I am not Etsy. You can get you call, you get me. Yeah, no, I do not have a staff. I don't want one.
You are the staff.
I am the staff.
You're everybody.
I occasionally, press my family into service when I have a lot of work to get done. But, like Paula, hi. Paula and I did some work together, and it was a lot of work on my end. All right. Kevin, our butterfly plate is our last one. There's our before shot. This was a piece that I did, and I'll show you the back first. I did that sucker in 2007.
So that's a piece you made.
This is a piece. This is low fire. This is a piece. It might have been. No, I can't even say it was Pottery Camp. This was still in my studio days, and when I had my own shop and was messing around with some stuff, and I decorated it with some tape and some of those very plain foam stamps that you get for little kids. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's fine to put in your shop. They don't have a lot of detail. The plate was okay. It was fine looking. I wanted to punch it up.
Oh, wow.
Right? So I busted out my ruler and actually what I did was I traced the butterfly and the dragonfly. And I hunted down some artwork that would fit, and I tweaked and I did some Photoshop magic to make it fit. But that gives a whole new level of detail to this piece. And I didn't do this one in black. I'm a big fan. I love black line art. But this one I thought, no, I did this in a really deep brown to stick with a more natural tone. And this is a good place to point out, as I do frequently, that I have some limitations on color matching just because it's ceramic pigment. Red plus yellow will give you orange. We just don't know which orange. So if your client says it has got to be PMS 231, then we got to have a conversation about educating that customer, because I can't get it. I can't do it. This isn't ink. This is ceramic pigment. I can get you close. I can get you browns, blues, greens, reds. Purples and pinks can be twitchy, but sometimes there's a way around it. Black is always good, which is why I like to. But think about the primary colors. I can usually get you close. But those are always conversations worth having before you promise something to your family member or customer. So that was my spiel on how to decorate existing ware. Monograms, I think, would be awesome to put on almost anything. And you don't need to do the set of 12. Maybe you do the teapot and 4 dessert dishes, or that an oval serving tray like the first piece we had up, that blue set with a couple of little dishes. I Home Goods is my second favorite place next to Maryland China to go get just a thing. I need to go. I want to give somebody a gift. I don't have time to glaze and fire it myself, but I do have time to put a decal on it and throw it in a kiln. Then you've got your personalized work that is your work, even though it wasn't your brush work. Although I'm not entirely sure you couldn't decorate with some stroke and coat or easy stroke or.
Oh, I bet you could. Definitely give it a test and, fire with it and see what happens.
Right. It's going to be tough to get an opaque finish that way, but you could certainly do the brushwork stuff where uneven is the goal, or, dots, or tape off some lines. You can do all the things. Just because it's already got some glaze on it doesn't mean you're entirely done. What else we got? Any other?
Some folks want to know, if you're going to show the process, how do you put a decal on? How do you apply a decal to a surface?
Well, I did not plan to do that because I've done it on my other appearances, but I'm not. Let's see what can come out of the. Well, let's employ some tools we have at hand. If you'll permit me a moment.
Absolutely, go ahead. If you don't, I'm sure I've got a piece I could grab and some decals I could slap on. They won't be yours, though. I would rather you do it with yours and show your decals.
We are gonna make this work.
All right.
First thing is we got to get ourselves water.
Folks always love seeing the process, even if they've seen it a ton more. So you start with water.
You start with water, and ideally you're going to start with your water that's warm. Here's my dish that we're going to use because it was right handy.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
If you will pardon me, I'm going to step out of camera for a second.
Well, Melanie's doing that. We'll come in the camera too, and I'll show you this bowl again for those who missed an example of how you can. So this is my favorite bowl that I keep my stamps in, but I glazed it with, this was my Oribe, but I was testing a blue and I didn't like how the colors came out with the overlap. So what I did is I had some decals similar to what Melanie makes. These are vintage ones, so they're a little different. And I applied them to the surface after the piece was glazed. And you could see it's a turtle and some baby turtles back here. But can you see the difference in the blue? Like it's darker blue back here, lighter blue here. I just wasn't happy with how much lighter blue it was in that transition. So I put this decal on the lighter area and now I love it. I think it turned out great. So this bowl, it's, this is a great way to save pieces that you're not happy with. You can get Melanie's decals, and I could have put her black decals and they would have popped. Like if we turn it around to the back, look, that's what it looks like with nothing on it. I mean, it's nice, absolutely fine, actually. And most everything is fine. But if you want to kick it up, why not do something? We have the ability to
make it more than fine.
Right? You shouldn't settle for fine. Life's too short. Don't have fine. Make it great.
Make it great. And there are do-overs. If not for your customers, certainly for you. You own, you own the choices. So, okay.
All right. So you ready?
So we are going to pretend. Let's see what we can see here. All right. We're going to pretend that I have dipped my cloth here in some rubbing alcohol. Can we all agree that we can pretend that for a moment? We're going to clear our space a little bit. All right. So I've cleaned that with some alcohol, and I'm going to take my decal. I punched out another piece of that pattern page I had sitting nearby. This is what I used on the red heart planner thing. And I'm going to drop it in my water. Now this water, because it was sitting next to me and I like to drink my water ice cold, it's going to take a minute. I'm tipping the dish to give me some depth. Normally I have the base of an old crock pot and a metal baking dish that sits astride it, and that keeps my water warmer longer. But if I'm just doing one or two, I just grab a dish of some warm tap water room temperature to warmer. Don't go hot. But when you're dealing with ice cold, like I am right now, it's just going to take us a little bit longer. Nothing's going to be flawed. Nothing's going to be bad. We just got to wait a little longer. So I fish it out and I see if yeah, I got some movement. I'm going to let it sit for another second. But the decal is printed on water slide paper, and then it gets that flux coating laminated on top of it. And the coating and the pigment come off. And I take it out of the water. We can move that out of frame now, I think. So I got my decal. And I want it here. So I'm going to slide the backing out from under it. And there's my backing. Say goodbye to the backing. It's done. So now I've got a decal floating on its own little puddle of water, and it is all kinds of fluid and movable. I can position it wherever I feel like it. If I want it upside down, I can have it upside down. While I'm being quite cavalier of repositioning, I want to take this moment to remind you all that this stuff is brittle. It's delicate. Can't get around it. So if you're in a rush and your nerves are a little jangled, that may not be the day to be applying decals. So do some deep breathing, do something to, or at least that's what I have to do, because if I'm edgy and twitchy, I'm going to tear the thing. Can I put a tear back together? Look at my dragon. Often you can, but let's try to not have that problem. So now I've got the decal in the position I want it. If this were a plate, I've got a little 2-inch brayer. I would run the brayer through it. Actually, I would put a rag over top of it or a paper towel and kind of blot off. This gets a bulk of it out. And then I come back. Let's see. I'm gonna drop the glasses down so I can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to squeegee. I sell a nice little flexible squeegee thing. Comes from the auto body industry. If you have soft, flexible ribs in your studio, use those. This is a great tool. It's not the only tool. And what I'm going to do is hold my decal in position and gently drag from the center out. And oh no. You will see, if you've got some good lighting, you will see little bits of water come out. Now this is a small one, so it's going to be easier to position. And you keep working your way around. And this one was just incredibly cooperative because I'm not even getting, whoop, lost my, I'm trying to push some water out of here to see if you can see it, and you can't. This is only about 2 inches across, so we're not dealing with a lot of surface. But this is the part, this is that moment that you've got to make it or break it. If you skip it, if you rush that step, the squeegeeing out, if you leave the tiniest bit of water in there, it's going to boil and it's going to burst through that decal surface. And you never know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So that's right there, one of the most important. Get that water out from under. And then the rest is just set it aside, let it dry. Be careful how you handle it, because if you put your hand all over this, you can pull it back off. I did a travel mug as a gift, and I laid it down on a tray that had that spongy drawer liner material on it, thinking, oh, good, I'll protect it. This is soft. It'll cushion it. It's not going to fall. Stuck to it because I left it there overnight. And I picked it up to go load it, and I lost half my decal, and I had to start over because that one was all the way around. That was not a happy day, but I learned.
But if it happens, you can start over. You can, you can fix it.
If if all I did was reposition it, yes, I can fix it. So if I decide that this heart, oh my gosh, I put it on upside down, horrors, I've not fired it. I could take this, I could soak it back into some water, warm it up, and moisten it, and get under there with something tiny, just to give it a lit. And then you can. There are do-overs until it's fired. But if you've totally plucked out half the image because it's stuck to the surface you laid it on, you got to start over with a whole new decal. So there are options to repair a lot of things, just not in every instance. Ceramic decoration is, is no different. Sometimes you can sponge it back. Sometimes not so much. But that's the application process. That part is exactly the same as the traditional decals from Olympic and Trinity and probably Maryland, China. The water slide application is nothing new. That part is dead on, one for one, the same as the older product. CeramiPics is just hotter. Do with that what you will.
It's hotter.
It's hot. We can take the heat, baby.
You can take the heat. Someone asked about making artwork. If they have a few drawings that are big, can you take that drawing and shrink it down or make it bigger so you can change the sizes? If someone sends you the artwork, you can change size. It doesn't have to be the same size as the original artwork, correct?
Correct. Technically correct. My daughter's favorite word is technically. Much, much easier to make things smaller. Where we run into trouble is with stuff that's really low resolution. Even if it's a small image, if I've got to do anything to it and there's not enough dots, it makes it harder. But if you took a photo with your phone and you email it to me, we're good. If your friend took a photo with her phone and she texted it to you first, not so good, because when you text an image, it shrinks considerably. But generally, if you shot it, or if it's a big file, like hundreds of kilobytes, if it's 25 kilobytes, we're going to talk. But if it's hundreds up to a whole megabyte, you're fine. And so, yes, I can take much easier to take a big piece and shrink it down. I did a platter for my niece. She had done a painting of the house she and her husband bought, and they submitted it with their offer. So if you're in a competitive housing market, I don't know, she got the house, but I wanted to put her art on a platter because she gave her original away. And fortunately she had taken a photo. So I was able to take that and do an 8x10 and put that on a commercially made platter. Cause I don't have the time to decorate as many pieces on my own as I used to. So for me, I'm going to slap it on something somebody else already did. But yes, sizes of work, I can edit for size. I can do a little bit of correction. My Photoshop skills are improving. I had a lady send me a photo of her beautiful dog, and it was a mostly black dog against a black background, which is just tough to see, period. So I was able to, clip out the dog and lighten up the background. So some simple edits I'm happy to do. There are limits. So, but yeah, a little smaller, a little bigger, take out somebody's eyeball glare. I can do those edits for you. Easy peasy.
So like we have a specific question. If this person scans a drawing that's regular size is 8x10 and wants to have it shrunk down to go on a mug, should that be okay?
It absolutely should. And the way the custom decal process works is you buy a sheet, you place your order, and you have small, medium, large, and it gives dimensions on my website. And then you send me the artwork. My first step is to lay out that artwork and send you a PDF file as a proof. So I love it when my customers print out that PDF, even in black and white, and cut some. I've made some people cut it out, lay it on the piece, make sure it's the size you want. Because even though you told me you wanted it 4 inches, and I made it 4 inches, you could lay it on your plate or your bowl or your mug and go, oh, that was a terrible decision. 4 inches is overwhelming or underwhelming, that's your opportunity to edit that size. And I would much rather go a round or two of changes so you're happy. I've got one customer, she says, oh, just send it, I'll make it fit. she's a friend. So I could say, seriously, you seriously don't want to print this page, you want to avoid, print the page, print it. I made her. And I was glad I did, because the size that we had decided was okay was really a little too big. So when she laid it on there, I went, oh, okay. So I always want you to have that poop moment on a piece of paper, not the decal that you spent good money on. So there's
it's always nicer to have that proof, to see it on a piece of paper first to check, instead of after it's printed all that ink on the
it's printed and it's shipped, and now you're ready to be going on to the next stage, and you're like, I meant 4 centimeters, not 4 inches, or whatever. You don't want to have that moment. So I try to give you a chance to evaluate what we've discussed. I mean, back in my days working for a ceramic bisque supplier, we would order new designs and we would spend hours in meetings deciding it should be 6 inches tall and 4 inches wide. And we would get the sample back from the factory and go, oh. So the real life thing really does. I'm pretty good at visualizing sizes, and even I get caught off guard. So forgive me if I'm being mean to you by making you check, but it's to make both of us happy.
It's for the best end result.
I think so.
So after you put the decal on, do you let it dry overnight? Or do you put it right in the kiln?
Overnight, or at least a couple of hours. I mean, if you put it on first thing in the morning, you're probably good to put it in the kiln that evening. You want to let it have time to dry, and then put it in your kiln at either an 012. I also offer on the instructions it's a 2-stage ramp hold, which to me just isn't worth it. Hit an 012 medium speed. Or like I said, if you're in a studio, a shared kiln situation, put it in with your bisque fire pieces. Just tell your kiln master, put this in with a bisque. Yes, I know it's glazed. Just put it in with bisque fire. And they have worked very well at 06. And like I said, 04 should be absolutely fine.
So that's really exciting, because a lot of times those higher temperatures, I know the decals that I've used in the past, the color will just burn right away. No, they're gone.
It's not burning out.
That's wonderful.
I tried.
That's so wonderful.
I tried. In my show kit, if anybody's coming to the show in Georgia in a couple weeks, I carry with me a sample of the same image at an 012 and at an 06. And they're really tough to distinguish.
Do you find firing them hotter makes them more durable on the surface?
No.
Or is it the same?
There's no change.
It's the same. So there's no change.
It's the same, because what's happening is the 012 is the minimum temperature to soften that surface glaze, and that my ceramic pigment kind of embeds in just enough to hold it. I want to contrast that with the guy at the mall that dye sublimates does a print job. You give him the photo and 20 minutes later, he puts it on a mug for you. That's printed on a chemical coating that's surrounding that porcelain. And it's there. It will be there. It doesn't survive the dishwasher. It will fade over time. This is the technology that's used in the funeral industry to put a porcelain portrait on a headstone. It can take the heat. It can take the cold. It can, if your Ware can take the dishwasher, my decal can take the dishwasher.
So they're going to last, folks. You don't have to worry about using them. Put it on that plate.
Put it on that plate. And yet another argument for making sure we get it right the first time, because it's not going anywhere when it comes out of the kiln. You stand just as much a chance of scraping off the glaze color you put down. And we all know how that works. Trying to remove. When your glaze turns out too dark, you're like, how can I lighten this?
Yeah. So I just want to remind folks, you are going to be in Georgia soon?
I will be we will be in Lawrenceville, Georgia at the Sherry Porter, don't smack me. I can't remember the name of the show, but it's a low fire show with bisque vendors, color vendors, ceramic shows on Facebook. Shows all the low fire groups that get together. There's a same kind of group that you see, Jess, when you go to Wisconsin with Mike Harbridge's show.
The Expo. The Fired Arts Expo. And then you're going to be on ClayShare Con.
I can't wait.
Up. I know. So that's February 18th to the 21st, all online. You're joining us on the 18th on Thursday. That's what I got you down. And then what do you got planned after that?
After that?
Are you going to NCECA this year?
If somebody wants some free booth help, I will get myself to NCECA, but right now it's not on my calendar. I would love to go, but next year NCECA is going to be in Baltimore. You better believe I'm going to be there, and I will have a booth, and we're all going to hang out and have a great time because that's where I am right now.
I'm excited for Baltimore because I can drive to that one. I have to fly to most of them, but Baltimore I'm driving, which means I don't have a limit on what I can bring home. Like a pug mill could end up in the back of my truck. Like those kind of things happen, or a kiln or something. I don't know. Things happen.
They do. I once came home with a piece of, it wasn't in NCECA, it was National Art Ed was in Baltimore, and Mike Harbridge had thrown a 16-inch wide platter and was doing some decorating technique. And I brought the greenware home because I could put it in the car.
Yeah, you can use that.
And my cat really enjoyed napping in it until I got it fired.
No, it's good and a little dangerous when you can drive to a conference. So, but that's exciting. So we have a couple more questions. Yeah. Are they microwave safe? Your decals? Can people use them?
Sure thing. If your piece can take it, my decal can take it.
Awesome.
Now, in the world of low fire, I'm obliged to say it's not recommended. Company line. Do I do it to my own stuff? You betcha.
Yeah, so you can do it. And another question someone had, they just want to know, these decals cannot be used like you would use as a temporary tattoo on a person's skin. They're not that kind of decal. They're ceramic decals.
The pigment is ceramic pigment. It's like you dried up a bunch of underglaze and ground it up.
Yes. So it's not the same product. It's not, I think we have folks watching that aren't familiar with
that. But now that's an excellent question. It is similar technology because that a water slide is the same technology that those a temporary tattoo is, but the film that holds it in place is much thinner and much more flexible. So I will harken back to my comment that this when you've taken that decal off of its backing here, I'm gonna soak another one for a second while we chat. You need to get it in place rather promptly, because if you get it off its backing and somebody distracts you and you turn around and you're letting this decal hang out in the air, it's going to dry and firm up again very, very quickly. And it's going to crack in your little fingers. So work it warm, get it from the backing onto the piece. Then you can take a breath before you start working the water out. But that moment where it's off the backing and ready to go onto the item. Let's see here. All right, so I soaked that one. Right, so here we are. We are off the backing. And I'm going to let it, actually, I'll leave that piece there. I'm just going to let this sit and dry for a second while I remind everybody I am happy to create patterns of your suggestion. If it's something I can sell to somebody else, I will sell it to you at a stock price. Okay.
Wow. So people get ideas.
Right. So I've got stock designs just because. So if like one lady asked me for shamrocks once, I'd be happy to make shamrocks. So if it's things that it can be sold to a wider audience, meaning it's not your personal art that, that's a different arrangement. So here is a decal unapplied. I could still apply it, but if I didn't, well, I've creased it. The longer it sits there and dries, it's going to get brittle and it's going to split and it's going to crack.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It's really made to go on a ceramic surface.
I already broke it.
Oh, I see you broke it. Uh-oh.
I see I broke it. Now, panic. Right now, I could lay it back down. I could gently put it back into place and very carefully resume. Not all lost, but let's save ourselves the headache. Let's get it from the water onto our piece. And then we can have a moment distraction of something else and go back to working on it. But just having that thing hanging in the air, it's going to be, it's going to make you sad. And I don't ever like my customers to be sad. So I try to give you the best education I can. I once had one of my very first customers. She had a piece that was very bulbous shaped. And she sent me a photo. She said, I want to put my decal on this. I said, I think that's a terrible piece to do it on, because you're talking about curves going this direction and, you know, they're going side to side, top to bottom. You know, if it's a ball shaped, it's going to be a headache. It's not impossible, but it's a whole lot harder. Well, she took the counsel of some of her ladies at her ceramic shop who had been using the old school decals, and they said, oh, no, you'll be fine. And it wasn't fine, and she was crushed. She had worked very hard to make that project happen, and it blew up kind of, I mean, not literally, but it was a fail at the end, and she was crushed. So if you think I'm being a little harpy, it's because I want you to be successful, and I'd rather have you annoyed with me.
It's all
in the
with
middle.
Good intentions.
That's right.
So we've got 2 minutes left. Is there anything you want to leave folks with before we go? I know people can find your decals at your website.
You can find me at CeramiPics.com, CeramiPics.com, and click on the shop button, and you can see the link to order custom or to look at the stock images that are available. ClayShare Live will get you 15% off your order now through February 10th. I picked that date because I leave on the 11th.
All caps?
All caps.
Okay.
Yes, all caps. I tend to do my codes in all caps. And I truly believe I set it up this morning and it activated it. So if it fights with you, please let me know. Because you know, computers. Also send me your ideas if you're looking for a pattern that you don't see. Very likely I can get it together for you. Or any other stock image like shamrocks or daisies or, you know, bicycle wheels.
Ooh, it could be fun. Who knows?
Stuff up now.
Yeah. No, I mean, the wheels could be good. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Melanie, for this. This has been really fun as always. We will see you in a few weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
ClayShareCon. I can't wait. And in the meantime, everybody can find you at CeramiPics.com.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, everyone.
I hope you enjoyed this little session to learn how you can save pots or transform your plain pots. You can get your decals, whether you want custom ones or some of the stock ones that she has, at CeramiPics.com. Remember, if you use the code ClayShareLive, all caps, you'll get 15% off. That is a limited time offer, so get on it. Go do it. And if you have any questions at all or any suggestions for future designs, again, reach out to Melanie, especially if you want to do some custom design. She's great at that. She can help you with it. So, all right, so we're going to be done with Live at 5 today. Next week we have Nikolai Bush from Bushcraft Studios joining us. I am really excited for that. It's Graffito demo that's coming. I'm going to take a little break. I'll be back in 15 minutes, and I'm going to be teaching a double header. We're going to be doing a hand building tutorial and a wheel throwing tutorial. See, it's almost too much for me to speak. And what is it, you may ask? Well, it's this little sweet thing, this tiny little thing. It's just a very simple concentric circle soap dish. So I'm going to show you how to make this by hand building in various sizes, and we're also going to throw one on the potter's wheel. So if you're a hand builder, got you covered. If you're a wheel thrower, got you covered too. So a little bit of something for everyone tonight to make this really fun, simple, minimalist design. Glaze it however you want. We're going to talk about that. But it's a good soap dish. You could use it for sponges or a paintbrush rest. Really, anything that you want to use it for, you can do so. I think with a little modification, we could turn this into an incense burner. And we'll talk about that in the class. So if you're a member of ClayShare, tune in at 6:15 p.m. tonight. If you can't make the live, it'll be recorded and you catch the replay later. If you're not a member yet, you can go to clayshare.com and sign up and join the class, or watch the replay, or any of the other classes we have, or you can go to the ClayShare app. Just go to your app store, search ClayShare. You'll find me, and you can watch there. So thank you, everyone, and a huge thank you to Melanie tonight for doing this fabulous tutorial. I know I learned some stuff, and I'm pretty excited to go find some pre-made pottery to stick some decals on. I'll see y'all next week. Until then, make some great pots. Good night, everyone.